Howdy, peeps. Little bit unprepared today. I like I told you last podcast, I got a new gaming computer and I failed to do my intro music and I failed to do any of my other music in there. So, with that being said, that will be fixed upcoming podcast. So, as usual, welcome to Talking Paranormal with the Old Man. I am the Old Man. And this week, we you have heard me talk about her for all the podcasts. The wife is joining me today. Hello, Brenda. Say hi.
Hey, everybody. Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us today. Uh,
So we are doing. This is our 30th anniversary, the big 30 anniversary of us doing paranormal investigations, and we've done literally hundreds and hundreds of investigations. So I figured what would be a good live podcast for the new year to talk about. Me and Brenda will talk about some of our favorites. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be the best evidence or anything like that, just our favorites on a personal level. So that's basically what we're going to do today. And the weather outside is frightening, as they say. Uh, Here in Michigan, it's colder than the witches, you know what. So I hope all the peeps that are listening, especially in the South, Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, you guys are getting it like everything and snow, freezing rain, sleet. A lot of people are without power. So if you're from that area of the country, stay safe, stay warm. It does get better. So with that being said, we're going to talk about some of our favorite investigations. I guess I will start. One of my favorite ones, I guess, would be the Ohio State Reformatory, just because that's where I saw my first apparition, like in real life. And how that happened was we were me and James and Dennis, we were coming from the East Block and we were up in the admin section. And by that time, I've been carrying around a whole bunch of stuff, cameras, tape recorders, video cameras. So I put everything away. And of course, as soon as I put everything away, we had bats. The prison has a lot of flying bats, which are just freaky, basically rats. I dislike them totally. So we all the bats flew over our head. We ducked. We came back up, and no more than 30, 35 feet away from me, I saw the apparition. And because he was up in the admin section, he must have been a trustee. So he must have been good behavior, didn't cause any issues, with the staff. So he was up in this area. And I still can see him. He had dark blue pants, a light blue shirt, blondish colored hair, but I only saw him from the knees on up. And there was an aura around him, but it was more like a spotlight of a gold, yellow gold aura or spotlight around him. And he was gliding in the hallway. He wasn't moving. He did not acknowledge. He didn't turn his head. He didn't do anything else. And he just was gliding down the hallway. And that is my wife's phone, in case you were wondering. No, it's not because I don't have anything over here. So yeah, that's the wife's phone. If you hear that during the podcast, it's not a UFO. It's not anything else. So, anyways, and we it took me a few seconds to figure out. Oh shit! I actually saw an apparition, and we chased after him. And where he went, it emptied into a big room that had three smaller rooms on each side. And James stood watch outside, and Dennis and I went inside, and there wasn't anything there. We checked all six rooms. There was nobody in there. So yeah, so that's where I saw my first apparition. And like I said, not really. We didn't get any evidence, didn't get any pictures or anything. but it was cool. That was my very first apparition. That was like our like our second or third trip down there. We've been there for a few years, a few times, a few years. So it's probably my our second or third time there, and I saw him. And then we went back the following year, expecting to see him again. And of course, we asked Frank, who was on the board of trustees there, if we could bring our equipment because it was a public hunt. Excuse me. And he said, as long as you don't burn the prison down, you're good. So we brought up like 4 or 5 loads of equipment, up 6 staircases. We found outlets. We plugged everything in. Nothing. He did not make an appearance. So that just just proves that you can't always expect something to happen, and that was the case. So that's my and not necessarily I'm not ranking them as far as my the best whatever, but that's one of my favorite investigations. So now I will hand it over to the wife, and she can talk about one of her favorites. Brenda.
Well, I guess just gonna say right from the beginning, doing an investigation, I was always thinking it was gonna be like the shows. Although when we first started doing investigations, there wasn't very many shows regarding ghost hunting. But when I first started, I thought that if we were going to be visiting a haunted area, that we were going to see activity constantly. And one of the things that I really realized about ghost hunting is you need to have patience. And it doesn't always work out like how you see on TV, where a certain people see activity every 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't happen that way. So I was one of my favorite ones is in Linden, Michigan. It's the Linden Hotel. Uh, I was kind of one of these people who didn't really get into all that for a while. I just thought I would just go ahead and just, come along with everybody and do everything. Um, but I wasn't truly expecting anything huge. Uh, I took a picture. They gave me a camera, and I took a picture of a Red Wings poster. And the Red Wings had won the Stanley Cup back in the day. And when I actually looked at the picture that I had taken, it had a picture of a girl in a nightgown. And I knew exactly what it was that I had taken. I had taken a picture of the Red Wings, but the Red Wings picture didn't even show up. It only showed what looks like a mist and a little girl in a pajama or a white gown, which at that it was looking straight at me when I took the picture, and it made me a believer because at that time I was just expecting nothing really, big other than the Red Wings. So when I saw that, I think it just kind of opened my eyes at that point, and I realized that there's something else out there. And a lot of times you see things and you have to question it. But when I saw that picture, I didn't question it. It was beyond questioning because the picture showed what uh, what was actually standing in front of me. So that was really, really an eye opener for me and really kind of made me more interested in finding out a little bit more about the paranormal activity and what happens. So that was one of my favorites. So I'll let Brad talk to the other one. You
And
mentioned the other
to
one.
and just to clarify, we had been doing this for a couple of well, me and my cousin Mark, rest in peace, have been doing cemeteries and graveyards for probably about half a year before Brenda got into it,
I
and
didn't like the mosquitoes.
yeah, she likes mosquitoes, and plus with her religious background or upbringing, didn't really believe in spirits and things like that. So basically, over the years, she was kind of pushed into it, if you will.
Yeah.
Where, hey Brenda, Mark can't come. Do you want to come? And she there's two things that she does not do: graveyards or basements.
Yeah, I don't like those.
There's two things that she will absolutely not do. And actually, I think I mentioned it. Yeah, I know I mentioned this last week, but we're doing the Randolph County Asylum in July, and they have a really cool basement. So Brenda will not be doing the basement. She'll be up watching the monitors. So if anything happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
she does not do basements or graveyards. So and it's kind of interesting because in Tombstone, which is where we're going in a couple weeks, they have the Boot Hill graveyard, which is where a lot of the victims or casualties, I guess, of the early days of Tombstone are buried at. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get her in there or not, but hopefully she will. If not, I'm sure there's a bench that she can sit outside if she's not willing to to go inside. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. So I guess my other ones. I mean, obviously, there's these ones where the common places. Gettysburg. We've been to we've been to a lot of places. What one of my I guess one of the reasons why let me start out by saying that one of the reasons why we got into doing this is to help people, and it's not necessarily fame and fortune. We have it on TV. I've written books, but the goal has always been to help people. And I think one of my favorite investigations or ones that I like is when we can help people. And one case, there's been three or four cases, but I remember this one is a house in Warren, and they kept on seeing this apparition. And the homeowner said, the best thing that I can describe him as being like Fonzie, from Happy Days. He, leather jacket, blue jeans, whatever, whatever, whatever. So, and they've had problems with like their Christmas tree lights turning on and off, things being moved. And this happened years ago. This is one of our earliest investigations. And so we went out there. We had our investigation, and I did make contact with the spirit there. He was on the stairs, heading from upstairs. He was on the stairs, and he did look like Fonzie. Uh, Leather jacket, blue jeans. He had the Harley boots on stuff, and so we helped him cross over. And a lot of the things is you have to. It helps being mediums or psychics, because one of the main things is to help him cross over. It helps to know why they're still here. And I don't remember the details of why he was still here, but we helped him cross over, and we were in contact a few days after. And the homeowner said, "No, there hasn't anything been going on, and it's been quiet. We haven't seen quote quote Fonzie." So that fell under us helping people. But what was kind of cool was we do presentations, and we were at the Warren Public Library, and this was like 5 or 6 years after, and we always do a Q&A session after the presentation. And that family was there, and I did not recognize them because it had been a few years after. And we're sitting there talking, and I'm like, "Yes, do you have a question?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "You probably don't remember us, but you came to our house and helped us with the spirit, and you helped him cross over." I'm like, "Oh yeah, how you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, we're doing good. The house is still quiet." And then I kind of made a joke. I'm like, "Okay, and people, we did not pay her to be here today. This is not a paid endorsement of our group. It just so happened that she was there during the presentation, and she just happened to mention, that we helped her cross over the spirit that they had." And to me, again, we don't have the evidence, but to me, that's more satisfying because, like I said, we started this group to help people, and that's what we did. because you have to have to imagine that if someone invites you into their house, perfect strangers, they didn't know us from Adam, as the old saying goes. They found us. Ooh, that was my microphone. Hold on. They There we go. They they found us on our website back then. Now it's all Facebook. So they found us on our Facebook, emailed us. I think Brenda probably called them. We set up an investigation. They invited us into their home, perfect strangers, and we helped them. And if someone is that in need that they invite perfect strangers to their house, it has to be pretty bad. And we don't charge for investigations. We haven't ever, and we won't ever charge. So, on a personal level, that was one of my favorites, just because we did help someone out, and that is our goal, is to help people out if they have hauntings or unexplained activity. So that was my second favorite, not in any particular order. And now, Brenda.
Yeah, I think when Greg was saying that I was normally going to be the person that calls, I usually do. As co director of the group, I set up investigations. I'm the person that you will talk to on the phone. And I'm usually just getting more information about what's happening in the house, what sort of activity, what things. But one of the things that I've noticed when I have done interviews for investigations is people have always said that one of the things that they noticed before the activity started was they heard a loud sound on the side of their house. And I had one woman who said, okay, well, for the first time that we noticed something happening was we were just sitting at home watching TV, and we heard a loud sound, like we felt like a car or a semi had hit the side of the house. It shook the windows, it shook the house, and we thought, okay, we're gonna move to a different room, and we're gonna see a car in the side. And there was no car, there was no semi, there was nothing. But when I was setting up a lot of these investigations, that's the story that people usually start off with, that before activity started in their house, something hits the side of their house, or they hear a loud boom outside their house. And because I've heard it from so many people, I just wonder if there's some sort of connection, that maybe there's a door that opens or something happens loud enough to open up for the activity to start off. That was one of the things that I've noticed when I have talked to numerous different people about investigations and haunted investigations, or haunted houses and things like that. It's a big boom that you hear on the side of the house. So if you've ever experienced that, I mean, you're not alone, because that was one of the signs that something must be opening or something is happening. Again, I'm still looking into this, but something is happening, that like a door opens is what I'm picturing, that allows these spirits to come in. And one example was a woman had had that experience, and she had told me that she had been coming home. She came home from work, and down the street, like maybe even a couple, not in front of her house, but a little bit in front of her house, there was an accident. There was a motorcycle accident, and she saw that the gentleman had perished. They had covered him up, and they were waiting for everybody to come and take care of things. And she went into her house and didn't think anything of it. And after that, a couple of days later, she would come down the flight of her stairs to get into her living room, and she would see that motorcycle, that person who was riding the motorcycle, because she did notice that he had like she a plaid shirt and jeans, and she did see him sitting in the living room when she went down the stairs. There were several times that she had seen him there. He would look at her, she would look at him, and then he would disappear. So he was around the house for a few days. So she was concerned about what she should do uh, to help him kind of find his way. And I think that when people pass away, I think there's an acceptance that happens to you in order for you to be able to move on to the next realm or where or what death pertains to or where you go afterwards. But I think that when this man was killed in front of her house, I think it happened so quick that he didn't know what was going on, and that's why she kept seeing him in her living room because this was the same. I mean, he had passed away in front of her house or near her house, so he was looking for somebody to tell him exactly what happened because your life is taken away so far or so fast that you can't comprehend it. So I think that the not an exactly a best investigation, but the experiences I have when I talk to the people that have haunted houses or activity in their homes it's very interesting, and I've noticed just little common denominators here and there. So that's kind of one of the things I wanted to say, being a co-director and being the person that you would talk to about doing an investigation in your house. That those are some common denominators, and I guess I'll send it back to Brad.
Do have a question though. If you could elaborate, 'cause I just talked about this in my last investigation that I like. If you could explain a little bit, if you don't mind, a little bit about your religious beliefs,
My religious belief, I was raised Catholic, and if
and
it,
we won't hold that against you.
yeah, okay. Anyways, I being raised Catholic, when a spirit doesn't go to heaven or doesn't go to hell and it's still here, it's in purgatory. So basically, anything that's here, from my understanding, shouldn't be here. It's either evil or it's malicious. So that was kind of not necessarily the way I was raised, but in my beliefs, that wasn't really. If a spirit is here, it's in purgatory. Something's happened that it isn't able to go to the next level. So that's kind of one of the things that I kind of brought to the group in that instance. But seeing this, seeing the things that I've noticed and I've seen doing these investigations for this long, it's eye opening, and it truly, in my opinion, it there is truly something else out there, and your loved ones don't leave when they pass away. It's just their body, it's their vessel that passes away, but their heart, their love, their energy is still around, and that's kind of what we feel, and that's what we're seeing. Folks that lost their life and don't know that they've lost their life because it happens so quick that there wasn't time for your body to accept the fact that you were going to die. So that's one of the things. It took me a while to kind of get past that whole purgatory thing because everything I thought was going to be evil if it didn't go to heaven or anywhere else. But it's been an eye opening for me. It's really interesting, and like Brad was saying, you really enjoy helping people. In the beginning, when we did this, when we were more weirdos than ghost hunters, I think people contacted us because they were so desperate. I had one person say, "It's either you or a psychiatrist because I'm seeing things in my house. I'm experiencing these things and I don't even know what is going on. So I'm turning to you to help." And that's why, we don't charge and we don't, we, it's not something that they can look for in a yellow pages or anywhere else. And you could find now you can find ghost hunters everywhere if you want someone to come to your house. But back then there was nobody that you could call to see if you could get that activity, other than the Warrens, I guess. But
Well,
yeah,
you can't call them anymore.
no, no. But yeah. So we that was one of the things that I accepted, and I really truly enjoy about helping people that really really need assurance that something is going on. So that, as a co-director, that's really what I enjoy.
And then just to elaborate a little bit, we have been doing it again for 30 years. And when we first started, there was three groups in Michigan. We are the only one left of those three. We are numero uno left standing. And like Brenda said, back when we first started, there was no TV shows on. There were no Ghost Adventures, no Ghost Hunters, none of these paranormal shows, paranormal caught on video, paranormal emergency, paranormal whatever else. None of it existed, and we were called kooks and weirdos and freaks and all these terms. We still are now, but they're more enduring. They're more affectionate.
I
It's
guess.
more, oh, you're a ghost hunter. Oh, you must be freaky. Well, we are, but that's the case. And but just a quick story. This does not rank on my list whatsoever, but the whole thing of helping people. We did an investigation one time, and that they made it sound like their stuff was flying off the walls and all this kind of stuff and all this kind of stuff. So we showed up for an investigation. We had our team, that we had our equipment stuff. And we freaking get there, and they had a table set up with a whole shitload of food, and we're like, okay, we only got like three of us here, right? We can't eat all that food. Oh no, no, I invited a few friends over. Unbeknownst to us, we were that night's entertainment. They had a house full of freaking people and eating. And I believe they had beer too, so that added to the ambiance of the investigation. And it was really frustrating because I know the younger kids, they want to be a part of it. I understand this. But we had this one girl, she was what, 8, 9 years old,
Yeah.
and she was following us around the house. And I was like, okay, I'm getting I think he says his name is Richard or something like that. Then she goes, yeah, I got that too. And the whole night was a freaking disaster. We were the entertainment, which I don't like. I mean, we were good sports. We went ahead and did the investigation and everything. But and then the one thing too, remember Brenda, we had that one over in uh shoot, Tecumseh, I think it was. Tim's place outside of town, that older house, that mansion house that Chuck from the library set us up for the investigation because Tim was experiencing things.
Yeah.
And we get in there, and they had a freaking band in there,
Yeah. It was.
and they're
Yeah. Sometimes we
oh
kind
my
of
god,
walk into situations where we're the entertainment.
yeah,
I think that house that Fred was talking about with all the food also had a room with a psychic that was giving
yeah,
readings and things like that.
I think
So
so too.
we were actually the headliners for a paranormal show. So
Which is better than being a supporting act.
I suppose so.
And then too, but this is more of a fun thing. Is like Brenda had mentioned, we have done the Linden Hotel many times, and Jack was the owner. Bless his heart, he passed a couple years ago. But we we always had our investigations on a Saturday night, and just so happens they had karaoke on Saturday night. So we tried to do our investigations upstairs. That used to be the hotel part, which is now a sports bar. And 99.9% of the time, the first song the DJ played, because they had a DJ with music, was the theme for Ghostbusters. And then, of course, he would say, "Who are you going to call?" And he would say, "SEMGHS." I mean, you have to take what we do with a grain of salt, you know. You can't take yourself too seriously. Let me, I guess, let me clarify. We do take what we do seriously. We don't make fun of people's investigations. You know, except for on TV, they're all hacks. But when we do our investigations, we take it seriously. We do kid among ourselves, but that's just to break the tension of the investigation. Like, for example, the Randolph County Asylum that we're doing July 18th. If you're in the area, let us know.
You can join us.
You can join us. It costs $63 a person, which all goes to Randolph County Asylum. We don't get anything. We're there for 16 hours. We get there at 6 o'clock on the 18th, July 18th, which is a Saturday, 6 p.m., and they give us a short tour. They bail. We're there by ourselves until 10 o'clock the following morning. So, any investigations that we go to that we invite the public, anything that you have to pay goes towards them. We don't see anything. We don't have any monetary interest in this whatsoever. It's a place to investigate. So yeah, so if July 18th, if you're in the area, it's in Winchester, Indiana. You're more than welcome to join us. It's $63 a person. We will probably meet somewhere in Winchester to eat first. I will let you guys know where, so you can join us if you want. So I guess my other going on the themes of investigations here. I think one of my other favorite ones. Oh, we're getting poor reception even on our fiber optics. Well, that kind of sucks. We were doing so good too. Oh well. Anyways, I get sidetracked easy, as you can tell. Brenda's over here like Jesus Christ. Here I go.
Stay
I
on topic.
I get sidetracked very easy when I see a poor thing flashing on my
Stay
screen
on
here.
topic.
Yeah, I know, but it's irritating. Anyway, so I guess, like I said, we have been to a lot of the air quotes famously haunted locations, and I know it's like cliche, Waverly Hills, Gettysburg, the Queen Mary, which we have been to, Alcatraz, whatever. But yeah, well, one of my actually when we were Waverly Hills, um, and when we've been to Waverly Hills twice. It's in Louisville, Kentucky, and we've been there twice. The last one was I think about 3 or 4 years ago now, and they give you a tour also, and Jason, who was the staff that was there that evening, when he gave us the tour, and all these years, I never thought about this. We've always been trying to find the spirits. We have our handheld. Well, I mean, we have our static cameras, but we have our handheld cameras. Tape recorders, BBP. We have all this stuff. And he goes, I tell people, let the spirits come to you. And I'm like, that makes sense, because if you're trying to find them, and if what is thought of as being true, they can avoid you. So you're chasing, if you will, a ghost, because you're chasing something that you can't see except for with equipment, or if you're a medium, and they're trying to avoid you. Well, if you let them come to you, you might get a little bit better results. So this last trip, we were on the first floor, and we had two team members. I don't say their names unless they give the approval. They were upstairs on the third floor, I believe, and I was on the first floor recharging some batteries for the camera. And Brenda was sitting in front of. We have a TV monitor that has our four static cameras hooked up to it through a DVR. So she's watching the TV monitors in real time. So if anything happens, she can say, "Is there, on our two-way radios, is there anybody on X floor? I'm picking up some movement, whatever." Well, one of our members up on the third floor, she radioed down, "Where's Brenda?" And I'm like, well, she's literally right in front of me looking at the TV screens. And I'm like, why? She goes, we just heard her voice up on the third floor saying hi. And she's like, I'm like, no, she's been right here. And you can't hear from the first floor all the way to the third floor. You can't hear someone talk. And she goes, yeah, we heard Brenda say hi. And we're like, we don't think that she's up here. I'm like, no, she's not up there. So that is a mimic. That is a spirit. And it's not a skinwalker. It's not an evil demonic presence like you see on TV. I hate that word skinwalker, but that's for a different podcast. But mimics are spirits that mimic voices that they have heard. So in this case, they were doing a mimic of Brenda's voice. And then one of our team members up on the third floor, she goes, and we saw shortly after we heard Brenda say hi twice, we saw an apparition of a nurse because this is Waverly Hills TB hospital. It's closed now, of course. And they saw a nurse, a full bodied, come out of one of the rooms into the hallway and disappear into a room across the hallway. So even though didn't really experience anything because I was on the first floor, which always seems to freaking happen. I'm not ever where the shit happens. I'm always someplace else. So yeah, I was on the first floor, recharging the batteries, and that's what happened. So to me, even though I didn't experience it firsthand, it still happened when we were there, and that's just again more evidence. We learn something new every investigation. And I can't wait until Randolph County, to be honest with you. The place is like supposedly off the charts. We have some new equipment. We bought one REM pod. We have one more coming today. I'm getting a new tape recorder for LOB, our bear, and we're going to order a string of LED lights that do temperature and EMF changes, and that's going to be a 36 footer, and we're getting that. Then I still want to get a few more things, but I can't wait for Randolph County. I plan on doing live podcasts if I can figure it out. So that's my third more enjoyable investigation. Brenda?
Well, I was thinking about the investigation that we did. What I find it really fascinating was this gentleman had contacted me and said that he was seeing a a, a figure in his house. He lived by himself, and he would see a figure in his house in the kitchen. Sometimes it would move. Uh, in the living room, he would like walk into the room, and he would see it kind of just walk away. And I found out that he was a. And you're gonna have to help me with Brad. He was a. Uh, he he was a
We
bondsman. I think
Oh, him. Yeah, no, he was a bounty hunter.
it was a bounty
The
hunter,
bailsman where
right?
yeah, where people would pay bond and if they skipped out, he would have to go and
Well,
try to find them.
about 3 years before he contacted us and stuff. He had had a situation where he was shot and he was in the hospital for a short time, and it was kind of one of these live or die situations, and they brought him back. But one of the things that he said that he had seen in his house was the figure that he was seeing was actually him. He said, "You're not going to believe this, but the purple person that I am seeing is me. I see it's a like me, but I can see it kind of walking around the house right along with me, and it's like I don't understand how that could be." And the only thing that I could think of in that instance is when he had his near death experience, maybe not all of his spirit came in. Maybe not all his spirit came back to him. And maybe what he was seeing in his house that looked like him was actually him. And, the part that didn't quite make it, that that was the only connection because there was nothing really active in his house other than seeing himself, which I found that very fascinating, and I wondered if it's possible where if when a person passes away and is brought back, is it possible that some of his spirit might have not all come into his body? Is that what he was seeing when he was walking around his house? That he was seeing himself. He actually is no longer with us. He did pass away from work related situations, but often wondered if that was what it was. That he was what the ghost of that he was seeing in his house was actually his spirit that might have been left over. So that was one of the kind of more really interesting ones that I remember thinking, uh, there's got to be some sort of explanation for it. So uh, I think that I'm gonna say the more interesting investigations, and not so much my favorites, because there's so many that we've done, hundreds of them. But I these are the ones that stand out because it was so peculiar, and it was so it only had like one explanation as to what it was. So at least to me, it did. So that's kind of where we left it with him as well. So you remember that one, Brad?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
And then that's after the investigation. Well, we were still there, and we were walking through the house, and our friend that's in Florida now,
Yeah.
she was there with us.
Yeah.
And I remember this. I was over by one of the like a chest of drawers, and I put my hand over it, and I'm like, I could feel the spirit. And
Yeah.
our friend goes, "Oh yeah, there's something attached to this dresser."
Yeah. So
So
it was a really interesting investigation. So they're all different. They're not the same at all. They're all very different.
yeah. Now that one there is not where I thought you were going.
Okay.
Okay, I thought you were going to talk about, and this is one of my favorite ones, the house in Troy with the guy that was seeing shadow figures in his house.
Oh, the stripper?
Yeah, I thought you were going there.
Okay.
Except, so we get there, and this guy he emailed us, and Brenda called and spoke to him.
Yes, I spoke to him about it, and he was saying that he was seeing things, and he's like, I'm 6'4". He's like, I can handle anything. He goes, but what I am experiencing in my house and what I'm seeing, I can't do anything about. He would wake up at night while he was sleeping in bed, and he would look up and see shadow figures kind of walking around on the ceiling. And there was one time when there was a little girl that's there too, and he had just taken a shower. He got out of the shower, and as he opened the door, that there was a staircase that was right there, right by where the bathroom was, and he saw this little girl just standing there, like on the third step. And he looked at her, she looked at him, and she turned around and went upstairs. And he said, I cannot sleep in my room. He goes, one, because of the shadow people. He goes, and he had a dog that also he felt like something was hitting the dog because he could see the dog's fur move when something was hitting it. So he was really, he had said he was a stripper, which you know, I mean, we don't judge. Do whatever you need to do. But it was actually a wood stripper. It wasn't a stripper. It was someone who did wood and stripped floors.
But I have to inject something here. Brenda asked him what he did, and he said, "I'm a stripper." And we had three women on our team that day, Brenda and two of our other ones, and there was a collective. I'm like, calm down, Brenda, calm
Yeah, he
down,
was a very handsome man.
calm down.
He was a handsome man. Okay, I'm not gonna say he wasn't, but the fact that he had to sleep in the living room on his couch with his dog with the TV on because he did not want to hear any sounds at all. He said, I didn't want to hear anything. I have the TV on. He's like, I've got the lights on. He goes, if I can handle my own. He goes, I can handle my own, but this I can't handle. I don't know. I don't know the first thing about fighting something like that. So that was interesting.
And then I remember too on that one, we did make contact with somebody, a spirit out in the backyard.
Yeah.
He was an older gentleman, and back then, like excuse me, like everything else was back then, any place was open farmland. Before developments took over, they built up crap, all this stuff. So it was open farmland, and actually, it was our friend who made contact with him, and he basically said that he was out farming his land. His wife brought him lunch. He sat down underneath a tree, and he sat in a rattlesnake's nest, and he got bit, and he passed away. Well, he didn't know that he had passed away. So our friend, like I said, made contact with him, and I have the pictures here someplace. If I can find him one of these years, I'm not organized very well when it comes to computers. I got pictures and stuff every place. And she goes, you should see a bright light, the proverbial bright light in the back of the yard. And he goes, yes, I see a light in the back of the yard. So I took a picture, and I got a picture of the quote bright light. And then our friend goes, you should see relatives, the people that you know in this light. And he goes, yeah, I see people that I know in this light. So I took a picture, and there's two or three orbs in the light. And she goes, you need to cross over into the light. So he did. And she goes, he has crossed over. He's not here no more, in our plane of existence. So I took one more picture. The light was gone. So she helped him cross over, and he was one of the spirits that was in this guy's house in Troy. And just a week from today, I'm gonna it's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna poke fun at Lynn, and I don't want to give it away here, but I'm gonna poke fun at the established names of things like EVPs and all this stuff. And if you think about it, it doesn't make sense of what it stands for. So it's kind of it's going to be non-serious. I'm not going to be serious. I'm not going to razz anybody, Zach, this time. So it's going to be a pretty easy, fun podcast. So okay, we were almost done. Went
Okay.
went by pretty quick. Do you have any closing remarks? Any comments or anything that you
I
would
think
wish to add?
there is a way of getting a hold of Brad or the old man. If you have questions out there, if you wondered if you've experienced anything or want to tell your story about things that you've experienced, by all means share. I mean, we'd love to hear the stories of some of the things that have happened, or even if you have a question about an activity that has happened around you or somebody close to you, by all means, contact us. We're here. We're here to help, and we're here to answer any questions. We're not experts. We're not going to tell you that what we say is the absolute positively that's what it is. But we'd like to hear from you. I mean, if you contact us and just kind of let us know some of the things that you experienced, that would be great. I mean, if with your permission, we can always also talk about this on air and maybe kind of answer your questions. So thank you. I wanted to thank you. This is my first time doing this, so I hope I'm forgiven for anything that I may have not done correctly. But thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate that.
Yeah. I Doc Fail. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, I can coax some other team members that we have that have been with us for years to join us. 'Cause I think I'm sure you all get tired of hearing me talking all the time. It's like, oh God, not him again. So if we can get some different perspectives, some different stories, just a fresh take on this. Because trust me, I mean, I can talk all damn day. I have before, but if I can get some, fresh content in here, and I am trying to coax them in. So hopefully in the future we'll have other call-ins. I guess this is our first time actually with our daughter. She would call in from her house, so this is the first time that Brenda's actually in the same house. Um,
I live here.
Yeah, she lives here. But what I'm saying is this is the first time we've done a live podcast with someone actually here other than me. So it actually went pretty well. So that was easy. No feedback. If you hear people, no feedback. So I think we got that problem fixed. I'm back at excellent on my internet. That's cool too. I apologize for not having my intro music or my exit music. That will be fixed here as soon as I'm done chatting because I didn't put it on my new computer. We're going to be in Tombstone in 2 weeks. I plan on going live, hopefully from Boot Hill Graveyard. That would be freaking cool. If not from Boot Hill, for sure,
Birdcage.
the Birdcage, which is I think the only original building left because Tombstone, Arizona had two fires that basically burned the town down.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the Birdcage Theater, 1881, is still there. And there's like 140 bullet holes in this place, and there's supposed to be spirits coming out of the woodwork. So hopefully, some live podcasts from there. Hopefully,
Yeah, more to come on that.
yeah. If not for sure, if you have any questions, you can go to our Facebook page, Talking Paranormal with the Old Man, and you can leave comments there. Yeah, I think you can direct message me from there. I do believe. Um, yeah, and then again, if you're in the area of Winchester, Indiana, on July 18th, we are doing again the Randolph County Asylum. If you're in the area, $63. Join us from 6 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock in the morning.
Or email us for more
Or
information.
email for more information, or on our Facebook page, or even on the podcast page that I have. I Doc Fail, thank you. I happy that you enjoyed the show. Appreciate it. And again, I feel kind of naked because I don't have my closing music, but I will have that again as soon as I'm done here. I'm uploading that damn thing to our podcast. So again, thank you all for listening.
Stay warm.
Stay warm if you're in the south area there. Stay warm. Ice is killing you guys down there. Some places have over an inch of ice. That's just freaking ridiculous. It's not too bad up here. We're getting snow and cold, but it was only minus 15 degrees on Saturday morning. Heat wave for us in January. So again, as usual, thank you again. Stay away from the light, and you have to be more afraid of the living than you do the dead. And I will see you next week. I don't think it's going to be live. Brenda might join me, but it probably will not be live. It'll just be a regular podcast. So until then, bye bye.
Bye.